Welcome to another edition of InterGeo TV News here at the InterGeo 2014 in Berlin, presenting Studio B60 in the TMF, the Trend and Media Forum. My special guest is this morning, Dr. Jürgen Dult. You are president of the Hexagon Geosystems. That's the right title? And you are partner here at the InterGeo 2014. How important is the InterGeo for your company?
I mean, the InterGeo has a long tradition for us as a company. Leica Geosystems is part of Hexagon, and Leica Geosystems is at the InterGeo since the Geodetentag, since the first hours. We are 200 years old as a company, and roughly now 10 years with Hexagon. So the InterGeo is an extremely important event for us. Number one, to meet all of our customers here in Germany and in Europe, to understand what they want, what they see as future requirements. But it's also a platform where we can push technology, push new ideas, and drive this industry into other segments, into other applications. So it's very important and a good platform.
Jürgen Dult, talking about your clients, what they want actually.
I think it's twofold. There is a large group of existing business which does traditional surveying, traditional GIS. What they typically want is improvement, incremental improvement, improvements of processes they do today, interoperability with data, with different data from different sensors, integration into our GIS systems. So that's the one part which we have, and what we see now is a trend that more and more new segments are coming here, or new customers are coming to this InterGeo, which are looking for new applications. One, I think, a perfect example is certainly the UAV market, which was non-existing for a couple of years ago. And now I heard yesterday that we have 50 exhibitors in this area, a big platform for UAVs, and we have one too, and we see kind of lots of interesting discussions to explore where we can use those technologies in the future.
So there's a lot about technology. There are special developments of technology in your company at the moment. What you see changing?
We have several ones. I think we're announcing 10 new applications, technology solutions in these areas here at the InterGeo. What we are focusing right now on is having in the Hexagon group Leica Geosystems, which is very strong in the hardware development, surveying instrument, airborne cameras and so forth, is that we have in the group Intergraph, who is very software-focused, solution-focused in different segments. And what we do is the total integration from sensor to internet, what we talk. So it's really getting kind of from capturing the reality to the information the end user is concerned with.
Looking 2 or 3 years ahead, what will be the challenges? What do you think? New challenges?
I think one of the challenge and opportunity which we have is that it goes towards mobility, and we discussed this yesterday in the press conference. The use of smartphones has shown us where do we want to have data at what point in time. So we want to have the data, the information at the time we need it, whether that's in the office or whether we're outside. So this mobility of information is a challenge for us in the industry to make the information easier available, to not only from a capturing point of view, but also from delivering it to the end user. So it's a lot of automation, it's a lot of software, a lot of integration. So it's on one hand side it's a challenge, but we love challenges because there are always opportunities in it.
Talking about the opportunity again, it is a chance to get the younger generation to this topic too, huh?
Absolutely. I think the younger generation tells us what we have to do. I think the younger generation is not concerned about kind of how do you create interoperabilities and so forth to get to an information. They just want to have the information now. When we think about how telephones were used some 10, 20 years ago, and now we have smartphones, and a smartphone, the function of a smartphone is not the primary function of calling. It's kind of using Facebook, Instagram, and so forth. And that's kind of targeted information, targeted sharing of information on a platform which you don't care where it's stored as long as it's available. Obviously, we have, as an industry, work on making sure it's happened, but the decision which we do today will enable the future generations to use it as they want it.
You mentioned already the Geodatentag, which was ahead of the Intergeo today. It was a long way. Where are the important steps from Geodatentag to Intergeo? It's always the DVW is involved in the Intergeo. It's important to talking about the surveyors too. You know this job very well.
Yeah, I think it's not the one or the other step. It's an evolution of an industry, right? When surveying started, wherever, kind of 100 years ago and more, right? Then it was about optical mechanical devices where you had books in your hand and wrote things up, and after a couple hours you had the coordinates. Now you want to have it on a button press, right? And that has changed the industry. So the surveying market is still existing, so cadasters is important. So this industry is there, but it has also evolved into kind of new applications, and which are now coming to this platform to understand what is possible and how can we drive it further. And I said at the end what our goal needs to be is kind of, I said it once for photogrammetry, the best photogrammetry is which you don't see. And I would say the best surveying is the one you don't see. It's when you survey without, you use the technology, but you don't recognize all the technology behind this. And I think then we have achieved everything, and that's an evolution. It's not a single step.
Last question, you mentioned the new trend, UAVs here at the Intergeo. Were there other highlights besides your own company?
I think there's a large variation on this. It's lots of smaller innovations which we see on sensor technology, which we have seen this. I see a lot of good activities in the interoperability to make sure that we create interfaces so different sensors can contribute in the same way to one answer, which is important. The UAVs is probably the most futuristic. Some years ago we had the mobile mapping. So it's about capturing the real world to create a real digital world. And there are so many activities right now that's very hard to point it to one or two innovations. I think the sum of the innovation makes it very interesting.
So we are still already excited about the next Intergeo, what will happen then. Thank you for being here, Dr. Jürgen Dold. Thanks.
Thank you very much.